Hey Falcons fans! The Atlanta Falcons just made some financial moves that have fans excited, and the implications may be bigger than they first appear. So let's break down everything that's going on, and be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to stay informed. Without further ado, let's get right to the news. With some strategic contract restructuring, the Falcons have freed up $20 million in salary cap space, enough to make a splash in free agency, right? Well, not so fast. The reality of how that cap space works may not lead to the blockbuster signing some fans are hoping for. But could it still open the door for a major addition that changes the trajectory of this team? Let's break it down. The Falcons have restructured the contracts of cornerback A.J. Terrell and offensive lineman Chris Lindstrom, each move freeing up $10 million. But what does restructured really mean? Essentially, part of his base salary was converted into a signing bonus, spreading the cap hit over multiple years. This lowers his 2025 cap number while increasing his future obligations. It's a common tactic, but it signals something important. Atlanta needed to create some financial flexibility now, and they did it in a way that suggests a very specific goal. Now, as exciting as an extra $20 million sounds, it's crucial to understand the concept of effective salary cap space. This is where things get a little tricky. Yes, the Falcons technically have over $10 million in cap space right now, but when you factor in the money that must be set aside to sign their incoming rookie class in the draft, that number drops to around $8 million in actual spending power. That's still a solid chunk of change, but it's not the type of money that screams blockbuster free agent signing. So what does this mean? Most likely, Atlanta made these moves to ensure they have the flexibility to sign their rookie class while keeping some extra financial cushion for in-season emergencies. Teams don't like to operate with just a few dollars left under the cap. They want some breathing room for unexpected injuries, potential trades, or mid-season signings. And if they don't use all the cap space, they can roll it over into the next season. But for those fans still hoping for a big-name addition, let's talk about some realistic targets. Two positions stand out as the biggest needs for Atlanta: edge rusher and cornerback. And even though a splashy signing isn't expected, there are still some intriguing veteran names available who could help this team immediately. If you're looking for a pass rusher, one name that makes a lot of sense is Zadarius Smith. Over the past 4 seasons, Smith has consistently been productive, racking up sack totals of 12.5, 10, 5.5, and 9. Just as important, he's been durable. He hasn't missed a game due to injury in the past 3 seasons. That level of production and availability is rare this late in free agency, and he would fit well in Atlanta's defensive rotation. Imagine adding him to a group that already includes Leonard Floyd, Arnold Ebiketie, and Bralon Trice, who was essentially a rookie after missing all of last season with an ACL injury. That's a solid 4-man rotation before even considering the draft. And that's where things get interesting. If the Falcons were to add a veteran pass rusher now, it could give them more flexibility in the draft. Instead of feeling pressured to take an edge rusher in the first round, they could look at a cornerback or another position and wait until later rounds to address the pass rush. That could be a game changer in how they approach their draft strategy. Speaking of cornerbacks, one name that has been floating around for months is Asante Samuel Jr. The former Chargers defensive back has had an up-and-down career, but when he's on the field, he's a playmaker. He started his first 3 seasons with 2 interceptions each year, and while a shoulder injury kept him sidelined for much of last season, he still offers intriguing upside. The biggest concern? His health. If he can't pass a physical, that could explain why he's still unsigned. But if he's healthy, this is exactly the kind of signing that could get fans excited. Not only does he have the skill set to thrive in Atlanta's zone-heavy defense, but he's also the kind of player who puts butts in seats. And let's be real, having a Samuel on the field just sounds like a good idea for any team. If the Falcons are looking for a more reliable, veteran presence at cornerback, they could turn to Mike Hilton. The longtime nickel corner has had a successful career with the Steelers and Bengals, and he could bring much-needed depth to Atlanta's secondary. Right now, the Falcons don't appear interested in bringing back D. Alford, which means Clark Phillips is currently slotted into the nickel role. While Phillips has the athleticism and ball skills to handle that spot, he played outside corner at Utah. If he struggles, having a proven veteran like Hilton as an insurance policy would be a smart move. So the big question is, if the Falcons were to make one more addition, should it be an edge rusher or a cornerback? Let's be clear, both are positions of need. But if you ask me, I lean toward the pass rush. Atlanta's secondary wasn't perfect last season, but they had some bright spots. Jesse Bates and A.J. Terrell are fantastic players, and Justin Simmons, while not spectacular, was a solid presence. The real problem? The pass rush. The Falcons have ranked dead last in sacks over the past 4 seasons. Read that again, dead last. The last time Atlanta had a player hit double-digit sacks, Saudi Arabia hadn't even allowed women to drive yet. That's how long it's been. And when you have that kind of drought, it's hard to win games, no matter how good your secondary is. Even the best cornerbacks in the league can't cover receivers forever. If you can't pressure the quarterback, it doesn't matter who's playing in the secondary. So if Atlanta has the chance to bring in a veteran pass rusher, they need to do it. They don't need to break the bank, but they need to do something. The draft will help, but adding someone like Zadarius Smith or another experienced rusher could make all the difference in turning this defense into a legitimate force. Now, I want to hear from you. If the Falcons could only sign one more player, would you rather see them bring in an edge rusher or a cornerback? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's get this debate going. All right, let's keep this going. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture, what these moves say about the Falcons' overall strategy. By freeing up this cap space, Atlanta is signaling that they want to be flexible heading into the draft and the season. They're not looking for short-term, flashy signings, they're building methodically. And that's important because it tells us that the front office is playing the long game. Think about it, this is a team that hasn't had a dominant pass rush in years. They've cycled through different players, different coaches, and different schemes, but the results haven't changed. Now, they're trying to create a sustainable defensive core. Adding a veteran now could stabilize the unit, while the draft could bring in young talent to develop. And speaking of the draft, this newfound financial flexibility could allow the Falcons to be aggressive if they see a player they love. Maybe they move up in the second round to grab an edge rusher or a cornerback. Maybe they make a trade mid-season for a player who can push them into playoff contention. The point is, by keeping cap space available, they have options. One last thing, if the Falcons do add someone, it's probably going to be a veteran who fits into the locker room culture. That's been a clear priority under this regime. They're not just chasing talent, they're looking for guys who bring leadership, experience, and reliability. That's why names like Zadarius Smith and Mike Hilton make so much sense. But now I want to hear from you. What do you think of the Falcons' approach? Are they making the right moves, or should they be more aggressive in free agency? And if they make one more signing, who do you want to see in Atlanta? Let's get the conversation going. Drop a comment below, hit that like button, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe for more Falcons updates. I'll see you in the next one. Go Falcons!